Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a games I beat in 2015, which is something that I did last year doing a games I beat in 2014 video. So I thought let's keep the tradition going and do another one of these videos because I think they're always fun when other people do them, and I like watching and listening to them. So yeah, games I beat in 2015, there was a huge or a considerable drop in the number of games compared to 2014. In 2014, I beat 40. If you guys watch my video, I mentioned that I beat 44 games, I believe, and in fact that number was wrong. Right after I recorded the video, I realized that I actually beat 45 games. I forgot to mention Papo and Yo for the PlayStation 3, which is a downloadable title. For some reason, I forgot to add it in my notes. So 45 games beat in 2014. And in 2015, like I said, a considerable drop in the number of games. I have only beaten, as far as I'm concerned, 26 games. I may be missing one or two games. Again, I make this list in a quick rush, but I believe this is pretty accurate. So 26 games, it's a pretty big drop. A lot of things going on in 2015, settled into this new place here, and a lot of work. And on top of that, I have a pretty lengthy commute to and from work every day, so my free time is it has been reduced for this past year, so I guess that could be one of the reasons. But without further ado, let's just go through the list, with the following disclaimer that these are games that I beat in 2015 regardless of the generation or year that they were released. Some of them are from older systems or consoles or generations. So keep that in mind. These are not specific games to 2015, but games that were released in different types of years. And I do have my top games of 2015 video, which is a separate one, coming up in the following months. I know I'm a little bit behind with that one, but I really want to get my backlog checked, and I really want to see if I can beat some 2015 releases before I put that video out for you guys. So without further ado, let's just go through the list. And for most of these games, I have impressions videos, and I will mention that. So if you guys want to check out my extended thoughts, feel free to do so. So, number one, early in the year, I beat Shadows of Mordor for the PlayStation 4. Fantastic game. It was it was one of my top games of 2014, and fantastic game. I really enjoyed the combat system. It was like a mixture. The gameplay was a mixture of the Assassin's Creed and the Batman Arkham games, and it was a pretty fun game. The Nemesis system was pretty enjoyable, and I do have to go back to it because I think I only need like 2 or 3 trophies to get the platinum, so might as well make the extra effort. I already did all the hard trophies. Yeah, I just have to do like 2 or 3. So I do have to dust that up from the shelf and see if I can get the platinum for that. But Shadows of Mordor for the PS4, I have an impressions video if you guys want to check out my thoughts. Number 2 is Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Curtain Call for the Nintendo 3DS. This is a game that I did not make an impressions video. It's kind of hard to do so because it's a rhythm game, and even more so because I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan. I've never beaten a proper Final Fantasy game. And but that didn't stop me from enjoying the game. The soundtrack was fantastic. The tunes, the songs from different eras, ranging from the NES Final Fantasy games all the way to the modern Final Fantasy games. I thought Theatrhythm Curtain Call was a fantastic game. Even though I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan, I've enjoyed that game quite a lot. And you do have to get a certain amount of points in order to watch the credits. So that's what I consider the game beaten. But it's a game with basically endless challenge and endless replay value, because you can keep replaying and improving your points and improving your ranks. So I had a lot of fun with Curtain Call for the Nintendo 3DS. At number 3, we have Dust and Elysian Tale for the PlayStation 4. This was a PlayStation Plus release. A pretty fun adventure action RPG, like side-scrolling RPG. I thought it was a fantastic game, and I had more appreciation towards the game after I've learned that only one person basically worked and developed the game. So fantastic game that was offered through PlayStation Plus. But even if you guys didn't take advantage of that offer, I would strongly suggest that you guys buy the game and play it. I know it's out on the 360, on Steam, PC, whatever, but I had a pretty fun time with Dust and Elysian Tale, to the point that I went ahead and got the Platinum Trophy for it. So a fantastic game. I do have an impressions video for that. At number 4, Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate for the PlayStation Vita. This is a game that follows the Arkham series, and of course this is the handheld version. So the gameplay does suffer a little bit of changes. In essence, it's the same type of beat 'em up type of system, but it feels more limited. This is more of a Metroidvania type of game where you have to go back and forth, different sections of the Blackgate prison. So it was an enjoyable game, but it does have some pretty big negatives, such as the map. It's a really pain in the rear to use the map in that game. It's very confusing, and if you guys go for 100%, then God bless you, because the game will be very confusing with that map. But it was an enjoyable game, just not my favorite type of I guess within the Metroidvania genre. At number 5, we have DuckTales Remastered for the PlayStation 3. This is a game that I started playing on the Wii U and then jumped onto the PS3 just because of the convenience of having a digital download version, inside the hard drive of my PS3. So I beat the game on the PS3. It was very fun. Basically a reimagining of the classic DuckTales games that came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Pretty fun platformer, pretty old school, great graphics. I thought they did a pretty good job with the remake, with the remastering the graphics and all that. So short and sweet experience, and it was free through PlayStation Plus, so it can't really complain. At number 6, another PlayStation Plus title, Never Alone for the PlayStation 4. I decided to give this a go because I like platformers. This was more of a, I guess, puzzle slash platformer, but in a very basic way. To be completely honest, I did not care for the game much. I thought it was interesting how, as you play the game, you unlock like these full motion videos or movies that depict the actual tale of this tribe in, I guess, like up in Alaska. And I thought it was interesting, the story, but gameplay wise, I think the game's a little bit shallow. But for what it was worth, it was a free game, and it's only like 2 or 3 hours long. I thought it was an okay experience. Let's see, that was number 6, Never Alone for the PS4. Number 7, Mario Kart 8. Yeah, this game was in my games I beat in 2014 list, and it reappears in my 2015 list just because I played that game this year and I beat every single cup in the game, including all the DLCs. My goal for this year was to get 3 gold stars on every circuit, on every cup in the 150cc mode, which is the hardest. Well, 200cc is now the hardest, but 150 was my goal to get all 3 gold stars, and I was able to achieve that for the most part. I still have to go back and beat some of the tougher circuits or cups. But yeah, Mario Kart 8 is a game that it's really short. If you want to play through all the tracks, including the DLC, you can probably breeze through the game in a couple hours. So Mario Kart 8 makes a reappearance in this year's list. At number 8, we have Little Big Planet 3 for the PlayStation 4, another game that I did an impressions video on. And to be completely honest, the game did introduce a bunch of new features and fun features, such as controlling different characters that have different abilities. But for some reason, it feels like the franchise or the series itself is starting to become a little bit stale. On my end, I think it's because due to the fact that I don't really care for the level creation aspect, which is a big portion of the game. Obviously, I know there's a lot of talented people out there that create great levels for the game. So yeah, Little Big Planet 3, it was short, it was enjoyable, but I'm starting to lose the grip with that series, and it's a shame because I really loved the first entry on the PlayStation 3. At number 9, we have FIFA 15 for the PlayStation 4, and this is the game that I played the most this year. I know a lot of you guys out there don't care for sports games, but I do. And how can you consider a game like this beat? It's really hard being a sports games. Well, let me just say that I have played 3 entire seasons with AS Roma, which is a Serie A Italian team, and I've won basically the Serie A, which is a local Italian league championship. I won the Coppa Italia. I won the UEFA Champions League. I bought and sold a lot of different players, so I did put a considerable amount of time, and I did win all of the possible leagues and cups with that team. So I consider that game, quote unquote, beat. And again, this is a game that I put the most time in 2015 because I like soccer and I like sports games. So FIFA 15, it does have some quirks and negative things to it, and as far as the gameplay, but nevertheless a very enjoyable title. Number 10, Gunman Clive 2 for the Nintendo 3DS. This is a downloadable game. I was a pretty big fan of the first Gunman Clive that came out, I believe, 2 years ago. So I was very excited to buy the sequel to that game. And just like the first game, this is a very charming, very unique looking. It almost looks like a hand-drawn type of game. This sequel has more colors, more gameplay variety, and it's just as fun. It's a pretty challenging, actually, shooter, similar to like the Mega Man, old school Mega Man games, where it's side-scrolling and shooter with platforming elements. So I highly recommend that you guys check either the first one or this or the sequel, because they're a fantastic game. So Gunman Clive for the Nintendo 3DS, a very enjoyable downloadable title from the eShop. At number 11, Heavenly Sword for the PlayStation 3. I have an impressions video on this. This is one of the early exclusive titles for the PlayStation 3 that didn't really cause any major sales or anything for the system, unfortunately, but I thought it was a pretty competent hack and slash action game that it introduced a couple of cool gameplay concepts, and the characters and the story were also interesting. It's just the game was very short, and it did suffer from a lot of technical things, like slow frame rates and things like that, but overall I thought it was a pretty enjoyable game. And here's hoping that one day they somehow revive the universe of Heavenly Sword, because I did enjoy a lot the story and the characters. Number 12, Saint Seiya Sanctuary Battle for the PlayStation 3. I also have an impressions video on this. This is based on the very popular anime series Saint Seiya, or Knights of the Zodiac. And this is an import copy. It was an European version because in North America there's only a digital version of the game. So I prefer to have my things physical, so I had to import the game. And it was a very fun game. It was a very fun game, a little bit on the repetitive side. So if you guys are into the anime of Saint Seiya, I highly recommend that you play this game. It's fun. But if you guys are not into the anime, do not play this game. It will feel very tedious and very repetitive, but if you guys want to give it a shot, I highly suggest that you watch the anime, because it's fantastic. It's a little bit old school because it's an 1980s anime, but it's a fantastic series. At number 13, Splatoon for the Wii U, another game that I did an impressions video. And of course, I'm talking about the single player campaign, which is very short but sweet. It reminded me a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games, because there are platforming elements, and then of course you can shoot, and then of course you have the fantastic graphics, very colorful, very Nintendo-like, and the gameplay is very fast-paced, very fluid, and of course you have the new gameplay concepts, such as you transform yourself into a squid, and you can use your ink to traverse through the levels, and it's a very fun mechanic. And the only regret I have, or the only complaint that I have, is that the single player was too short. I think they had a pretty good thing going with the single player mode. A lot of the levels were very innovative, very fun, especially the last boss battle. It was a very memorable and epic boss fight. So Splatoon for the Wii U, that's number 13. Number 14, a new release for 2015 that I was looking forward with a lot of hype. And we're talking about Batman Arkham Knight for the PlayStation 4. A game that I enjoyed a lot. I know a lot of people had some gripes with it as far as the use of the Batmobile, which is a new addition to the game. But me personally, I enjoyed the game quite a lot. I really enjoyed just the open world aspect of it. Gotham City is huge. You can go to different areas of the city. And of course, you have the free flow combat system, which is always addicting. The better you get at it, the more you want to play the game, and just a lot of things to do in the game. A ton of side quests, a ton of sub stories, and of course the main story. It's always very entertaining, and the graphics were fantastic. So, Batman Arkham Knight, another fantastic game that I really enjoyed during 2015. At number 15, a sleeper hit, Rocket League for the PlayStation 4. This is a game that came out in its launch free through PlayStation Plus, and I have to say I was addicted to this game for a couple months. Just the gameplay is overall very addictive. It's very easy to pick up and play. It's basically soccer with cars. And I do have an impressions video on that game, so please go and check it out. Even if you guys didn't get this game on free through PlayStation Plus, I highly recommend that you pay, because a fun time is basically guaranteed with Rocket League, which is a fantastic game, and I'm really glad I was able to play that game. Number 16, The Walking Dead Season 1 for the PlayStation 3. Another one of the Telltale games. I have an impressions video discussing Season 1 and 2. I had a lot of fun. It was a very, very well written story in my opinion, and a very emotional one, so I had a lot of fun with that game. Number 17, Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus for the PlayStation 4. Another game that it was short and sweet, very nice graphics. Unfortunately, only 30 frames per second as opposed to the earlier Ratchet & Clank games, which were more fluid in terms of gameplay, but these games are always fun. It's platforming using wacky weapons, futuristic weapons, and of course you have the humor between Ratchet and Clank as far as the dialogue and the storyline. So it was a very enjoyable experience, very short, but again, very sweet. Number 18, Monument Valley for the Android, the only mobile game I have on my list, and I highly recommend that you guys check my impressions video, because I have some gameplay kind of showing of what the game is all about. It's like an artsy, isometric puzzle game, which is fantastic. Very, very short, but I highly recommend it if you guys can get it on during a sale or something. And obviously, if you guys have a smartphone, make sure you try it out, because it's fantastic. Number 19, Tales of Xillia 2 for the PlayStation 3. Another JRPG entry into the Tales of series, and I loved Xillia 1, so I was very much looking forward into playing Xillia 2. So I finally did in 2015, and I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a very fun RPG, very similar obviously in terms of the gameplay, but they added new things such as the usage of weapons, new characters that you can use in your party and things like that, a new protagonist obviously. But in my opinion, Xillia 1 was better, but I do have a video where I compare the two. So Tales of Xillia 2, great game, but I enjoyed the first one a little bit more. Number 20, Helldivers for the PlayStation 4. This is a game that I bought to play with a couple of other people here on YouTube. And hard to tell how you beat this game, because it's basically a never-ending process, but I did see the credits. I was able to contribute to eradicating one of the enemy races or enemy I guess groups. This is a cool concept because it's an online game, and the more levels you beat, you contribute towards defeating or eradicating the enemies. And this is an online game, co-op, 4-player, very challenging, very tough, and it tests the teamwork and how good you can communicate with your teammates. So it was a blast playing this with other YouTubers, and it was a very enjoyable game. Number 21, Rayman Legends for the PlayStation 4. A fantastic platforming game. I loved Rayman Origins for the PlayStation 3 and the Vita and all that. So Rayman Legends, it's basically that, but more vibrant, more levels, more gameplay. It's just an overall joy to play that game. So if you guys have, or if you guys enjoy platforming games, make sure you check out Rayman Legends. Number 22, The Order 1886 for the PlayStation 4. Another exclusive to the PlayStation 4 that a lot of people criticize this game for being short, and sure enough, it's a very short experience, but I got the game on sale for 20 bucks, so I thought I got my money's worth by playing the game. Yes, it was short. Yes, it did not introduce anything new in terms of gameplay. It's just basically a third-person shooter. But the graphics are amazing, and I thought the story was interesting. Not the best, but it was interesting enough to keep me entertained throughout the duration of the game. So, The Order 1886, a pretty good PS4 exclusive if you can get it for the right amount of money. Number 23, The Walking Dead Season 2. Again, I have an impressions video that I compare, or that I talk about Season 1 and 2. Personally, I prefer Season 2 a little bit more than 1. So if you're interested in hearing that, go check out my older video. Number 24, a very pleasant surprise, Yoshi's Woolly World for the Nintendo Wii U. Simply put, this is my favorite Yoshi game of all time. Yes, that's even on top of Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo. I thought it was a fantastic game, very well designed. Levels, incredibly charming graphics. This is exactly what I was looking for in a game. You know, a very solid gameplay with excellent level design and fun collectibles to to replay the levels and all that. So Yoshi's Woolly World, definitely a major surprise in this during this year. And then we have number 25, Devil's Third for the Wii U, a game that also was very much criticized by a lot of reviewers out there, saying that the game is trash, it's crap. But guess what? I had fun playing the game. A lot of people that I know that purchased the game said the same thing. It's a fun game. Sure, it has some technical glitches, drops in frame rates and all that, but overall it was a very enjoyable game, very fun, very brutal, very violent, very vulgar, very cheesy, but the game doesn't take itself too seriously, so I don't know what reviewers were expecting, but in my opinion, Devil's Third for the Wii U was a very fun experience. And last, we have number 26, which is Asura's Wrath for the PlayStation 3. I have an impressions video that I will be doing for this game. It's a fantastic game. It's a really interesting game in terms of both gameplay and story. But that's all I'm gonna say. I'll keep you guys, I guess, posted when I put my impressions video on Asura's Wrath for the PlayStation 3. A very enjoyable game. That was basically my last game I beat on 2015. So for 2016, here's hoping that my number of games goes up a little bit, because as you guys can see, out of the 26 games that I beat, none of them were particularly lengthy. I think the longest one was maybe Tales of Exilia, and even then, that's not a very lengthy RPG. I think it's like a 30 to 35 hour game. So here's hoping that I'm able to beat a little bit more games for 2016. It'll be tough considering my life and my work schedule and all that, but we'll see what happens. Stay tuned for that video in about a year from now. So thank you guys for watching and listening, and I will see you all later.